a black cloud lingered over Philadelphia, casting a dark shadow on the kids living there. Kids with lives, dreams, and their whole futures ahead of them would wake up and go to school not knowing if this would be their last day, and witnessing so many of your friends lose their young lives before they ever even started would turn even the cleanest of hearts cold. These murders ignited something dark in the minds of the youth of Philly. Kids, not even old enough to buy a beer, would be going through unbearable pain. What could their parents possibly even understand of what these kids were going through? Kids pushed to their limits, fragile minds that hadn't even developed yet, undergoing trauma only comparable to shell-shocked soldiers fresh out of a war zone. It's no surprise then that this sort of grief ended up consuming the youngsters like Noah Scurry, who in the name of survival or revenge felt the need to transform into something else, something terrifying, a new identity that would give them back control and save them from the danger by becoming the danger themselves. This is how the Joker persona was born. 2023 would end up being a pivotal year for Noah Scurry. In May, he would visit the Girard College, which provides college preparatory courses, likely meaning that Noah and his family were preparing for the next step on his educational journey, aiming to get him a scholarship to a university. However, later that month, there would be yet another mass shooting in the Frankfurt section, which would end up killing a 66-year-old man and injuring 3 teenagers.
Police say someone shot 3 15-year-old boys on Mulberry Street in Frankfurt. This happened late Sunday night. They went to the hospital and are expected to be okay. Police also found a 66-year-old man dead at the scene. He had been shot in the head.
As the local media would later report, one of these teenagers would allegedly turn out to be Noah Scurry himself. 2 days later, it would be Noah's 16th birthday, and his father would post a heartfelt message to him, where he wouldn't mention anything out of the ordinary, but he would allude to something dramatic just having taken place, mentioning how many adversities his son had faced. It's possible that this shooting that injured him personally was the final straw that broke Noah, because only a few months later, he would allegedly commit, perhaps, his first murder. On the 20th of July, 25-year-old Devin Spady was hanging out with his friends on the 5800 block of Masher Street in the Olney section of Philadelphia. Spady was better known in the streets of Philly by his rapper name, Young Cheese, or YNG Cheese, making up one half of the rap duo, Mac and Cheese, that he had formed with his brother Trey Mac. The duo had achieved a minor buzz in the Philly rap scene, which was further boosted by the fact that they were both sons of the podcast phenomenon Gillie the King, formerly known as Philly rap legend Gillie the Kid, now famous for running the highly popular podcast $1 Million Worth of Game, together with his cousin Wallow. But on this tragic night, Cheese and some friends were standing on the corner of West Nedrow Avenue and North Masher Street just before 8:30 p.m. when they would suddenly hear gunshots and begin running from the scene. Unfortunately, Cheese would be hit in the back, causing him to collapse on the street. He was later pronounced dead at the Einstein Medical Center, while 2 other victims would also suffer gunshot wounds, but survive.
This happened last night, just about 8:30, in the section of Olney, on the corner of Masher and Nedrow Street, I should say. Just before 8:30, several calls came in. Police arrived to find 2 victims about a block away suffering from gunshot wounds. Investigators tell us a 25-year-old man was shot in the back, rushed to Einstein Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. The second victim, a 28-year-old man, found shot in the leg, as well as a 31-year-old man also shot in the leg. So 3 men, 3 victims here, and this is what Chief Inspector Scott Small had to say.
Now we know the shooting took place at Masher and Nedrow. That's where we found 10 spent shell casings. So we know 10 shots were fired from a semi-automatic weapon. And that's where all 3 of these victims were struck.
Police say Devin Spady, better known as Young Cheese, was one of 3 people shot in the 5800 block of Masher Street in Olney Thursday night. Shot in the back, the 25-year-old rapper was a rising star and the son of one of Philadelphia's biggest stars, Gillie the King.
He uses his platform to speak out against violence, and now violence has claimed the life of his son.
For him to be a victim to the same violence that he's advocating against, that's just heartbreaking.
Gillie the King is a rapper turned podcaster turned philanthropist. He and his $1 Million Worth of Game podcast partner Wallow also helped give away millions of dollars to support local businesses, and both were awarded the key to the city.
Gillie and Wallow have become the unofficial mayors of the city of Philadelphia. How about that? Right? They are the voice of the youth.
Soon after, the news about Cheese's passing would reach the people close to him, and Wallow would post a heartfelt message to Cheese's father Gillie on Instagram, telling him how he was going to look after Gillie on behalf of Cheese. Later, on an episode of $1 Million Worth of Game, Wallow would actually open up about having to personally tell Gillie the tragic news of his son's passing.
So one of the hardest things I ever had to do was tell Kels that Cheese ain't gonna be here no more. I said, Cheese got shot. No, I'm not thinking about it. I never forget I was in the bathroom. Gil knocked on the door. Yo, man, his head was down like, man, Cheese got. I said, what? I tell him what happened. He said, no, I'm gonna check into it right now and see what's going on. Boom, boom, boom. once I hang up, he called me back and say, don't put Gil on the phone no more. I said, all right, so we driving. He tell me on the phone, he's like, yeah, man. He gone. I said, damn. So I put my face down and I go to walk out of the hospital because we in emergency. Gil see me. I said, damn. Because I'm like, I'm going to leave and they going to have to tell him in the hospital because so I walk out, Gil come out, and he like, cuz, what's up, cuz? What's going on? What's up? Because he peeped me, put my head down. That was the worst thing I ever told anybody. And I was like, man, she's gone. And I never seen him like that. So it was like, in some type of way, I felt f***ed up because it was like I had to tell him the worst ever. So I felt some type of way, like it wasn't that I was responsible, but the fact that I told him that shit, that's the worst ever. So when I told him that, I had to walk away and he was talking to me, telling me, so Gil just walked away, he was just f***ed up. And so I was so hurt because it was like, damn man, I told him the worst shit in the world. And I did it day after day to try to make a better situation, but it was like, Cheese wasn't coming back. And it was like, I had to stay away from it. It was hard for me to face cuz for a while. So I would keep my distance. And it'd be like, it's f***ed up. Cuz
I appreciate you for that too.
On July the 30th, 2023, Gilly's festival, Gilly Fest, would take place in Philadelphia, where a devastated Gilly took to the stage in a shirt.
So hard for us, but y'all got us through that shit, you hear me? Y'all got us through it. Listen, man, we gonna celebrate life, and I need y'all to know something very important. Our commitment to the little brothers and sisters in the street gang got stronger. We ain't gonna never give up on us. And we believe that one day we gonna stop shooting in the mirror and stop hurting people that look like us. When it got him out the house, got him back up, to the family, freeway, all the homeboys that came through and just lifted him up. We gonna do this shit for Y&G Cheese, right?
1, 2, 3.
With Gilly later opening up about the experience on the Pivot podcast, talking about the pain he went through and the need to stay strong for his family.
You know, going through all that I've went through in my life, bro, that make you forward tough, man. That really make you forward tough. So, you know, what's done is done. And like you said, Cheese not coming back. That's the one thing that's a fact. So, for me to wake up every day and allow my family to see me in an emotional state where I'm not strong, that's not strong. You know what I mean? I'm only really weak around my woman and my friends. You know what I mean? Other than that, I gotta stay strong for my kids, man.
The local news would cover Cheese's funeral, held less than a week after his death, and highlight the need to stop the violence plaguing the city of Philadelphia, and mentioning also how at this point there were no suspects in the case.
Gilly DeKing laying his oldest son, Devin Spady, to rest on Monday. Spady, who rapped under the name Young Cheese, was killed in a shooting at the corner of Masher and Nedrow last Thursday night. Family friends say the loss hurts even more, knowing Gilly has long pushed people to choose a different path.
He always promoted a positive image and always talked about putting the guns down. So it's unfortunately that his son had to meet his demise this way.
Imam Tahir Wyatt made a point to address gun violence in his speech. He called on people at Monday's service to think before they act and to help those in need.
All of us know somebody. All of us know people who are this far away from revenge, from an endless cycle. But we have to be the ones to step up and be courageous.
Many family friends we spoke with believe losing a son to gun violence will motivate Gilly even more to stay active in his fight. But they also know he can't do it alone and say the community has to step up and take action.
We have to stop. We have to make a concerted effort to come together to find solutions to the craziness that is plaguing our city.
Gilly DeKing did not speak publicly at today's services. Philadelphia police say so far no arrests have been made in Spady's death and that this is an ongoing investigation.
Unfortunately though, not everyone was so thoughtful regarding this tragic news. One of hip-hop's most controversial and offensive figures, Charleston White, would use the death of Cheese to clap back at Gilly, who had previously labelled him as a snitch, posting some truly vile and demonic messages where he would make fun of Gilly's grief and even accuse him of getting his son killed as a sacrifice to the Illuminati.
Dead son, and you talking about snitching. Pow! That shot your son in the head, boy, on a line. Pow! Goddamn it, young Gilly been shot. I remember how you and Wallow were crying. You and Wallow were crying. Oh, my son. Oh, my son got killed. Oh, you were crying. Now you talking about snitching. You goddamn right I'm a law-abiding citizen. That's why your son unalive. Ain't nobody ain't been no get back. The who killed your boy still living, breathing, and coming, farting, sneezing, coughing, and going to bed and waking up living life. And you still in agony. Unless you made the sacrifice. Unless you did the sacrifice. You hear me? Unless you the one put the hit on your son so you and Wallow can get that $100 million. I ain't sacrificing my boy for no $100 million. I don't want that much money, no way. I don't want that much goddamn money, no way, Gilly and Wallow, where we gotta kill nephew and son. I don't know who idea was it for you to sacrifice your son. You should have sacrificed the and kept the boy. And kept the boy. You should have sacrificed the and kept your son, but because you want to be in an Illuminati.
Some months later, in October 2023, Noah would make one of his first appearances under his Joker alter ego in the music video for his friend Qua 4, a song called Fallen Angels, a song dedicated to all of their friends killed in the Philly gang wars. Noah would be included in the video wearing his signature Joker mask and holding up a gun, surrounded by other strap-toting Philly gangsters. But when Noah wasn't allegedly running around killing people in his Joker mask, he would still be keeping up appearances in school, where his basketball team would tell the fans that he was a player to watch out for and that he was going to have a big junior season. Unfortunately though, only a few months later, Noah would allegedly strike again in the streets. On the 4th of March, around 3:45 p.m, 17-year-old Damon Taylor, also known as Fat Dame, had just gotten out of school day at Imhotep Charter High School. He was waiting to get on a bus with about 15 other students at the intersection of Ogontz and Godfrey Avenues when two assailants would walk up to the bus stop and open fire. 5 people were hit with bullets, including 3 students who were standing outside at the bus stop, along with 2 older women who were sitting inside the bus. However, despite the high number of casualties, the attack appeared to be targeted towards Damon, who would be hit the worst. This was a gruesome hit, and his injuries would be brutal to say the least. A video would later be posted online showing panicked students at the scene, with one girl being heard saying, "His face is gone," when referring to Damon's injuries.
His face is gone.
Damon was taken to Einstein Medical Center, where he would unfortunately pass away from his injuries.
Good evening. It's Monday night. We begin with breaking news here tonight. Chopper 6 over the scene now of a deadly shooting that unfolded this afternoon on board a SEPTA bus. It happened just before 4 o'clock today. That bus coming to a stop right there at 16th and Limekiln and Ogontz. Just minutes ago, Philadelphia police gave us an update revealing that a 17-year-old is dead, the apparent target in this, and 4 other people were shot. 2 more teens and 2 women, 50 and 70 years old. This a live look at that scene right now. Those 2 women were sitting on the bus at the time. Action News reporter Katie Cacho live there where it all ended this afternoon. Katie, police say video shows 2 gunmen here.
That's exactly right, Brian. And where I'm standing is where police say around 15 to 20 people were waiting for that SEPTA bus when those shots were fired. I'm going to step out of the shot here so you can see what's behind me. As you can see, police have marked off multiple spots where they did find multiple shell casings. Now, there are multiple scenes to this shooting, and I do want to show you what another scene looks like here on the 6000 block of Limekiln Pike. You can see that SEPTA bus, and it has multiple bullet shots through those windows. Now, there are multiple victims here, and I do want to show you a list of all of the victims. Police say a 17-year-old was killed. A 17-year-old suffered a graze wound to the shoulder. A 50-year-old was on the SEPTA bus. She was shot in the arm. A 70-year-old woman was on the bus. She was shot in the head. Police say both of those women were bystanders. Police also say a 15-year-old suffered a graze wound to the back. Now, everyone is over at Einstein Medical Center recovering at this time.
Philly's infamous district attorney Larry Krasner would later be moved to tears when discussing the incident during a press briefing, promising that everyone involved would be arrested and prosecuted.
Juvenile who has now lost his life. We have a 70-year-old woman. Excuse me. We have a 70-year-old woman with a grocery cart on a bus who is struck in the head with a bullet. This is an absolute outrage. It will be solved. Those responsible will be vigorously prosecuted.
Despite Krasner's promises, this murder remains unsolved to this day, but meanwhile, people close to Damon seemingly had their suspicions, as Damon, aka Fat Dame, was allegedly associated with the Fast Break gang, who were known to beef with Noah's Whackers gang, aka the Pavement Boys. And only 2 days after Fat Dame's murder, there would be another mass shooting, this time at a bus stop located near the Northeast High School, which on the other hand is located about 2 miles away from Noah's Samuel Fells High School and partly serviced by the same bus lines. At around 3 p.m, students were waiting to get on a bus near the intersection of Rising Sun and Cotman Avenues, when 3 masked assailants who had been waiting nearby in a blue Hyundai Sonata would step out and open fire, hitting 8 teens and wounding one of them critically, while a 4th suspect, a getaway driver, would wait in the car.
Tonight, Philadelphia police are urging the public take a closer look at this shocking surveillance video. Investigators say it shows the chilling moments 3 armed suspects exit a stolen car, run up to a busy bus stop frequented by high school students, and indiscriminately fire more than 30 shots into the crowd. 8 teens between the ages of 15 and 17 were wounded. One of those teens now fighting for his life.
These are individuals shooting at a crowd of kids. That's really concerning. So we need people to see that.
This shooting, the 4th involving the city's transit system, SEPTA, and the 2nd involving minors this week alone.
We're going to target every criminal code on the bus.
But for the family and friends of 17-year-old Damian Taylor, it's too little too late. The teen was shot and killed on Monday as he waited for the bus. Several others were also wounded. As the investigation into this latest shooting continues, authorities are urging parents to get involved before another young life is claimed by gun violence.
Go in those rooms and look under those tables and look under those closets and get those guns out of the house. Because at the end of the day, many of these kids are coming from the same communities that they're shooting in, right? And they know who they are.
Unlike the shooting that took the life of Fat Dame, this one would unravel almost immediately, and less than 1 week later, the police would arrest 2 18-year-olds, Jamal Tucker and Arneal Buggs, in connection to the shooting.
This is video from the moment 18-year-old Arneal Buggs was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals Saturday. The day before, police say 18-year-old Jamal Tucker turned himself in. Philadelphia police, the mayor, and other leaders met today to announce their arrests. Both are now charged with the shooting that injured 8 Northeast High School students who were waiting for the bus last week. 7 boys and 1 girl, all between the ages of 15 and 17, were hit.
To our young people who were impacted, to know that we're making progress. We will not tolerate this type of violence on our streets or in our schools or near our schools.
Police say they developed suspects after recovering the stolen getaway car seen here in surveillance video. Buggs was also taken into custody with the gun that matched shell casings found at the scene. Police say the gun was a fully loaded and fully automatic pistol with a laser.
Young people who are trying to put it together,
they deserve better, and they deserve to know that the city of Philadelphia is taking seriously what occurred.
At the news conference today, Mayor Sherrell Parker speaking on the bloodshed of the youth and the plans in the near future to implement a public safety plan for the city. Moving forward is an all-hands-on-deck approach as authorities continue to look for 2 more suspects.
The local news would also report, based on the court records, that the police were investigating the shooting's connection to the one that killed Fat Dame. This paperwork also revealing just how sloppy these youngsters had been, not only during the shooting, where they had seemingly aimed eyes closed into a group of innocent kids, but also during the getaway.
The NBC 10 investigators obtained court documents that detail how police narrowed in on Tucker and Bugs. The documents explain how the same stolen blue car used in the shooting was found later that evening on the 400 block of Fern Street in Olney. Detectives pulled surveillance from that immediate area, and according to the affidavit of probable cause charging Bugs, surveillance video shows 4 men exiting the vehicle 14 minutes after the shooting. The men then entered a home on that same block. From that address, police identified Jamal Tucker as a suspect. Detectives worked with the FBI to pull cell phone data from the cell towers that serviced the shooting location and where the car was stolen and found. Court records show that investigators determined that cell phones associated with Tucker and Bugs traveled, quote, in concert to the Sunrise Avenue shooting location and the 400 block of Fern Street where the stolen car was recovered. Police won't say for certain if Wednesday's shooting was a retaliation for Monday's other SEPTA shooting. That one resulted in a 17-year-old killed and 4 others injured. But the affidavit charging Bugs details a prison phone call Bugs received the day after the shooting from his uncle, Dontaz McMillan. It says the inmate asked the other male on the line, quote, "I heard about your man, you good?" And the younger male states, "Nah," with McMillan responding, "Yeah, it's never easy to digest," end quote. The document goes on to say that based on the context of this phone call, it is believed that the 2 individuals on this call are discussing the homicide at 6200 Ogons Avenue. That homicide occurred on March 4th. Bugs and Tucker were arraigned Sunday morning.
Arnell Bugs would also be charged with a February 2024 murder of a 20-year-old named Christopher Dowling, also known in the streets as Chris, together with 2 other teens, none other than Aiden Waters, the Fast Break member first arrested in relation to the murder of YBC Dull, as well as a man named Ryan Purcell, better known in Philly as the Fast Break affiliated rapper LR or Lil Ryan. The following day, a 3rd suspect was arrested, 19-year-old Jermard Carter, who is also known as a rapper by the name of Mardo and also allegedly affiliated with the Fast Break gang.
Well, here we are on one of the main roads through Philadelphia at one of the main intersections, Academy, just about 5 doors off of Woodhaven Road, and there's a 2-apartment row house here, and there you see it, 12024 Academy Road. This is where Jermard Carter's father lives, and he said he answered the door to machine guns after 4 o'clock as police came looking for their son. Sources tell me the whole family was out in the backyard enjoying a nice day at the time, and so when they were knocking at the door, no one was answering it first, and then the father did answer the door. Here is video now of Jermard Carter being taken into custody by marshals and the task force that also includes a whole lot of Philadelphia police detectives who've been looking for him for nearly a week since the Wednesday shooting. So this makes 3 of the 4 they wanted. You remember 3 shooters and a 4th getaway driver. They wanted to get all 4. So the father told me Jermard Carter just turned 18. Authorities who took him into custody say he is 19 with a birth date listed for this October 1st, born in 04, which would make him nearly 20 years old come October. Here is some of what his father had told me earlier after the arrest. What can you tell me happened with your son?
I don't know. I just came to the door and to machine guns.
You came to the door and they had machine guns in your face? What did they say to you?
They just brought me outside.
The 4th suspect, 17-year-old Asir Boone, would also be identified after he failed to turn himself in, with the Philly police offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to his arrest.
First, armed, dangerous, and on the run. U.S. Marshals release a photo and the name of the 4th and final suspect in last week's SEPTA bus stop shooting.
3 suspects are now in custody, and tonight U.S. Marshals are searching for the final suspect.
There is now an all-out search for Asir Boone. This afternoon, the U.S. Marshals Service released this photo of the 17-year-old. They say he frequents Olney, but his last known address is in Germantown. Agents are also offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to his capture. If you come across Boone, do not approach him because he is considered armed and dangerous.
And about a week later, he would also be found hiding in the city of Alexandria, Virginia, near Washington, D.C.
20 minutes of nonstop news begins with breaking news. Another suspect captured. These are new pictures of the U.S. Marshals taking that suspect into custody. He's the fourth teenager arrested for the shooting that injured 8 students at a SEPTA bus stop.
Authorities say the U.S. Marshals, they say that they gave this teen's family multiple days in advance to turn himself in. And when that didn't happen and they missed the deadline, authorities say they amped up the pressure. That ultimately led to this arrest today. The boy's name is Asir Boone, 17 years old. The U.S. Marshals took these pictures of his arrest today in Alexandria, Virginia. There was a warrant out for him that included attempted murder. Boone is the fourth and final suspect wanted in connection to the March 6 shooting of 8 Northeast High School students. Police say were waiting for the bus at Cotman and Rising Sun Avenue.
But the police weren't done. They would also arrest a 5th suspect, 15-year-old Jeremiah Jefferson, who they claimed helped the 4 main assailants carry out the mass shooting.
Police made a 5th arrest in that mass shooting at a SEPTA station that injured 8 Northeast High School students in Burholm. Police say the 15-year-old suspect helped point out the victims to the gunman. Meanwhile, authorities say the suspects may be linked to even more crimes in the city.
And the communication went back and forth. He even says at one point, "I'm wearing this type of clothing, don't cook me." And then at the point where they were leaving the Dunkin' Donuts to walk to the bus stop, he types the word go.
Out of the 5 suspects, 18-year-old Jamal Tucker, known in the streets as Mally from the Fast Break gang, had been the first to turn himself in, which would immediately prompt accusations that he was snitching, and he would eventually become the first person to accept a plea deal with prosecutors, prompting even more rumors that he was indeed cooperating with the police against his Fast Break buddies.
Suspects in a shooting that injured 8 students at a bus stop in Northeast Philadelphia earlier this year has pleaded guilty. Jamal Tucker pled guilty to several charges yesterday, including attempted murder and aggravated assault. He's one of 5 people charged in that shooting you might remember happened back in March. 8 students from Northeast High School were shot at the intersection of Cotman and Rising Sun Avenues. A judge will sentence Tucker in October.
But meanwhile, already a few months after the shooting that killed Fat Dame, there would be yet another young victim whose murder has been connected to Noah in many online rumors. In May, a 16-year-old, Tayshawn Williams, also known as Tay, was gunned down by 3 masked assailants who pulled up on him in a car when he was riding his bike near his home in the West Poplar neighborhood.
A grieving mother is pleading for the public's help finding her 16-year-old son's killer. It was last May when someone shot and killed Tayshawn Williams in Philadelphia's West Poplar neighborhood. Rick Williams has details in tonight's Crime Fighters Report.
Tyra Williams needs a lung transplant. She relied on her 16-year-old son, Tayshawn, for his support and help around the house.
Mom, I gotta go to school. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. You know, he was such a blessing to me.
On Saturday, May 25th, Tyra sent Tayshawn on an errand for her.
I sent him to the store for me to get some water, and he came back.
That night, he said he was going out.
He left out. It was like 8-something. He went around the corner to go where he usually be at, around the corner with his friends. Next thing you know, I get a call.
At 8:38 p.m., police were called for reports of a person with a gun along the 1200 block of Fairmount Avenue in Philadelphia's West Poplar neighborhood. Police say Tayshawn was riding his bike when a car pulled up and 3 masked people got out and began opening fire. Tayshawn was hit multiple times. He was taken to the hospital, where he died a few hours later.
The area where Tay lived is known for the Richard Allen Homes, a public housing project, with the gang hailing from the area also going by Richard Allen or RA. While there's also numerous smaller sets in this area that go by names like 103, YSF, or Gunner Gang, RA has been known to have a beef with a gang called Zoo Gang, whose members also rep a set known as Omerta that hail from the Strawberry Mansion section. Omerta and Zoo Gang members have been hit with several federal indictments in recent years regarding numerous major robberies and other crimes, including a heist where the assailants stole hundreds of thousands of dimes from a trailer that was waiting to transport the money to Florida.
Thousands of dimes scattered and shimmering in a parking lot of Philadelphia Mills Mall. They spilled out of a parked trailer when thieves broke in.
They were trying to cross-load the dimes into other things to carry it away. There's dimes all over the parking lot.
The cargo, $750,000 worth of dimes, was loaded up at the Philadelphia Mint yesterday. Police say the truck driver parked here overnight, went home, and got some sleep before a long day of driving to Florida. but when he returned in the morning, he found someone had broken into the trailer using bolt cutters and stolen hundreds of thousands of dimes.
These indictments have broken down how the Omerta and Zoo gangs worked together to commit these crimes, but also mentioning that these gangs had connections with other gangs in Philadelphia, with one of these allegedly being Noah's gang, the Whackers, aka Pavement Boys, as Noah would eventually drop a song under his Joker alias, together with another rapper called Drench Season, who's allegedly affiliated with Zoo Gang. Because of this connection between Zoo Gang and Noah's gang, and because of Tay's apparent connection to Fast Break, affiliated with members like Fat Dame, Noah has seemingly been connected to the murder of Tay in many online rumors, although others have denied this, and there's seemingly very little actual evidence to tie him to the murder. This would become somewhat of a pattern with regards to Noah's supposed victims, as there have been many bodies that people have tried to put on him with little to no evidence, such as 2 other teens that would be killed already in the following month of June.
Unsubstantiated sources, he is linked to the death of Izzy Stanley and the 18-year-old Tin Millie, who both died in June of 2024, a week apart. Now, I'm not trying to go around putting murders on people, so please take all of this with a grain of salt.
However, at least in the case of Izzy Stanley, a 17-year-old girl who was killed when a shootout started at a party in Fairmount Park, one arrest has seemingly been made, but there's still seemingly nothing tying Noah to this incident. In May 2024, Noah would make another appearance in the music video for Qua 4's song Drill After Drill, but this time he would appear without his Joker mask, simply wearing a black COVID mask to hide his identity, all while toting a gun and flexing big stacks of cash. Interestingly, around the time of the video's release, Noah's father would also post several photos taken at the video shoot to his social media that showed Noah throwing up gang signs. By this point, Noah was truly living a double life, allegedly masking up and killing people by night, but continuing to excel in school and sports by day. On the 10th of December 2024, Noah was selected as his high school team's best player in their game against Plymouth Whitemarsh High School. He was all over the team's social media at this time, clearly delivering good results on the court for his team, but about a month later, when Noah's high school was playing against one of their main rivals, the Imhotep Charter High School, Noah was reportedly not participating, which would explain why his team would take a major loss. Moreover, only friends and family were allowed to attend the game, which was rumoured to have been the result of a rough encounter between these two teams at an earlier summer league game, where players from the Imhotep team had attempted to attack Noah due to knowing about his alleged involvement in the murder of Fat Dame, who had been a very loved student at that school. Part of the reason could have also been the fact that before this game, Noah had posted one of the first snippets of music to his Instagram, a song that included several disses towards Fat Dame, like Noah referencing the infamous video from the aftermath of the murder, where a girl can be saying how his face is gone. He would also make reference to the murder of Chris, aka Christopher Dowling, who was allegedly killed by Fast Break members, saying how his ops can't talk about Chris without mentioning how Fat Dame's soul left his body. Then, on the 13th of January, Noah would release his first full song and music video under his rap alias Joker OTV, the chilling song Swing My Door. The music video starts with the rapper Drench Season opening a fridge full of guns and handing one to Noah whilst wearing his infamous Joker mask. The duo, together with other masked teens, would then display their heavy artillery and guns equipped with switches to make them fire automatically. Drench Season then starts the song with lyrics that paint a picture of the dark world that these youngsters are inhabiting, saying how he's thirsty to swing that door, referring to the act of quickly opening a car door when spotting an enemy in order to run up and kill them from close distance, before saying that he already has 4 Bs, or bodies up, suggesting that there's 4 victims that he's already killed by this point. He then describes how he started the lifestyle of killing people and popping pills at the ripe age of 15, claiming this turned him into a goblin, which appeared to be something he was truly proud of. After Drench Season's verse, Noah, aka the Joker, would step in, delivering equally disturbing lyrics where he raps how one hand is not enough to count all of his victims, implying that he had already killed over 5 people at this point. He would aim disses towards specific rivals, like somebody he called Scoom, with some fans suggesting that this was another name for Fat Dame, as well as another guy called Quaddy, real name Quadir Diaz, who was found dead in a creek together with his friend under mysterious circumstances in April 2024. This song was undoubtedly disrespectful, and this is really where Noah painted an even bigger target on his back. Not only was he killing his enemies in the streets, but now he was proudly rapping about it, and despite hiding behind the menacing mask, those in the streets knew exactly who was responsible for these murders, and they wanted revenge too. And unfortunately for Noah, just as he had begun his rap career using his menacing mask and moniker as the Joker, there would be other ruthless masked shooters looking for him in the streets, with little care for who got in the way or witnessed the revenge that they were about to take upon him.